telling me you keep mask identities dwelling in under that masculinity. You gotta last. I cannot lift in the Machiavelli me. This is crazy. This is crazy.
We'll meet again, Spiderman.
Random as hell.
I wouldn't even expect all weekend, nigga.
I was so lost.
You'd have to be a real nerd to really know that. But for those who don't know, now you know. I go by the name of Dreamy Alpha, and I'm always here with the gang, with the originals, the Buzzins, man.
Mo Goblin.
Jeff too funny.
And this is the last order. Of course, y'all knew it was coming. We was gonna give y'all the weekend. You know what I'm saying? To really collect y'all thoughts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that was a spoiler movie. Like, there's nothing you can really say about that movie that ain't really spoiler. So, if you don't know, we reviewing Spider-Man No Way Home.
So spoiler alert.
Or do you want to do like a quick little overgloss, like no spoiler review for the people who haven't seen it? But if you haven't seen it at this point, it's like, dang, I'm gonna assume that you like 12 years old and you have no money.
No, we're not.
Because we know the Last Order followers have definitely tuned into Spider-Man already.
I'm saying like a quick little, like 3, 4, 5 minute little just gloss about it, like not like a full on review about it. I'm just saying do that, and then just like how we did Shang-Chi, like the first part and then the second. After 5 minutes, we went crazy.
You want to do that?
Not really, but we should.
All right.
Man, all right. So at the we'll just go like this. If you haven't seen it, we'll play in the middle. Turn it off. Because this is gonna be a spoiler.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna do it.
It's too much to hold back.
Yeah,
It's too much to hold back.
If you ain't seen it by now,
If you haven't seen it, go see it and then
come back. Let's talk about it.
We're gonna put that in the
It's
description.
way too much conversation. So let's talk about everything that is this perfect Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, man. Where do we even begin with this conversation?
First things first. Rest in peace, Aunt May.
Rest in peace, Aunt
Rest in peace, Aunt May.
Oh man. Just to get that out the way.
That shit hurt. Ooh, that shit hurt.
What do we?
I never said it on the page or nothing like that, but I definitely, maybe I did say it. I remember I told you like we're gonna get like an Uncle Ben level death.
You on the phone, you was like, we're gonna get like an Uncle Ben level death.
But I thought it was happy.
I thought it was gonna be happy.
I said I thought it was gonna be happy.
I think you said that in the trailer. The first trailer.
Yeah, I'm saying like I think
you said that.
I said we're gonna get an Uncle Ben level death. You know what I'm saying?
Damn, this shit hurt, man. Like,
yeah, so
but I did not see it being on me.
Walk it through like
we can break it down.
Let's break it down.
Let's go from the beginning.
I got this. I got it all written out right here, my dog. I got y'all. So let's go.
The opening was epic.
Yeah, let's go with the beginning. I put it, boom. Spider-Man beats the case. Opening credits come in. We see, Sony or whatever. You hearing in the background J. Jonah Jameson talking about Spider-Man and the how he allegedly killed Mysterio and stuff like that. Mary Jane on the ground. He got to swing down, grab her or whatever. They on the run or whatever.
It's not Mary Jane. It's actually Michelle Jones.
Michelle Jones. You're right. You're so right. That's wrong universe.
Yeah,
sorry. So you know what I'm saying? That part of the movie just made it surprised me that this movie picked up exactly where the last one left off. Like in the last movie, that's literally the last thing we saw. And it's crazy how this movie carried us all the way into the Christmas holiday season. I'm pretty sure this happens. This ends right. No, I think it ends right before Hawkeye begins. Like story wise, like I think it ends right when Hawkeye begins.
Oh yeah, because the musical was going on.
Yeah. And it was all Christmas lights, and he was swinging in the snow at the end of the movie.
Isn't Hawkeye next Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's keeping us. It's taking us through Hawkeye.
Yeah. Cool. So I think it but we don't know. Anyway, long story short, I think the dopest part of that part was that freaking Matt Murdock. No, Charlie Cox is Matt Murdock. shows up. You just see his cane.
Hey, I literally was the dude there like, oh shit.
The thing about it is the first time I saw the movie, because I seen it 3 times this weekend.
I'll be seeing it twice.
Seen it once.
I seen it once. I'm going twice. Though.
It's all good. At least you've seen it. The first time I seen it, like I couldn't even my brain couldn't even process anything I was hearing on the screen. Like it was just like I was like, what? Like, but the funny thing was, I think I called that last week when we was watching Hawkeye.
I think we're gonna get Daredevil.
I said mark my words, we're gonna get. I think I was.
Oh yeah, when they said Kingpin.
Yeah, I said mark my words, we're gonna see Daredevil in the MCU. But that was just a mind blowing thing because for years it was theories about like does the Netflix series tie into the actual MCU? Like you get what I'm saying? And then last week, Hawkeye, we see Kingpin dropped in that John. And then we're like, okay, so there is some type of connective tissue. But now the question was, how much is really being retained from those universes? So it was tight as shit to see, oh, okay, yeah. He just got the draft. He got his MCU hat on now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
He coming for the rookie.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He coming in. That was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got any extra comments to say about Daredevil? Or,
yes.
Yeah.
Movie-wise, because I do watch a lot of movies. But movie-wise, that was like so attention-grabbing. To have that in the beginning of...
They wasted no time.
And then they showed his capabilities.
Right,
without him having to do much.
Spider-Man's like, how do you do that? He's like, I'm a good lawyer.
Good lawyer, right?
I'm a great lawyer.
Stopping them bricks. That's crazy, though. For that to be early on in the movie, to pop it off, that just like made me know, like, all right, from here on out, anything is like return.
It was like
any point of the movie.
It just surprised me because you know what's funny? I thought that a part of me had thought that like it was something about like the multiversal calamities and all that was happening that was actually bringing them into this universe. But it's just funny as hell that Marvel's like, no, they just been here. Like, they just not an Avenger. They like it's a New York big as shit. Like it's a lot. It's a good couple few million.
No wonder Marvel had given us all these fake ass reasons why they or the fake ass reasons why they canceled those Netflix shows or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
it was really like
creative disagreement. I'm just like, man, it's not.
No, it wasn't.
I'm like these choices. No, there's a creative difference. But I'm like, these choices hits though. What are
the creative disagree? The creative differences was that they wanted him back.
We want them.
And they wanted to keep him. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, all right, bet. Let's get to the part. Let's talk about now Spider-Man has to live with the fact that everyone knows that he's Peter Parker. And that, you know what I'm saying, he has to live with now not getting accepted into all these other colleges for real.
And MIT.
And the thing was, at first I was thinking to myself, man, this white kid, man, they would have accepted his ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, he's not really remembered. So, oh yeah, a lot of people was seeing him as a little quick, you know, a terrorist. Like, you know what I'm saying? So they don't want to get too close to him.
Right, they don't want to get associated with him.
Mm-hmm. So it's crazy because they kind of treat him like a mutant, like X-Men.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And it was crazy how that happened.
I think you could have flipped it, man. If the world knew you was Spider-Man in this day and age, oh man, I would have ate that up.
Man, you would have got a TV show and all that shit.
Yeah,
bread, merch.
You'd be like, hey!
Yeah, and then you MIT, you don't gotta accept me. I can pay my tuition. Yeah. They gonna accept me off butt.
But the thing about Spider-Man was he's not like Mysterio in a sense where, and remember the previous movie, Mysterio was really doing all that shit for the glory and the fame.
Right.
Spider-Man was like, he was doing it for the glory and the fame, but at the end of the day, he was always the person really standing up for like what's right. You know what I'm saying? Like Mysterio, he didn't try to kill Mysterio. Mysterio tried to kill Spider-Man. He ended up killing himself. You know what I'm saying?
And that make it more genuine though.
Vulture in the movie before, Spider-Man was trying to save him even though he even tried to kill him.
Right.
Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, so at the end of the day, Peter is like a really good dude when it comes to that. So it was just hard to see like, damn, like he ain't about to get into college because he's Spider-Man. But then it was cool like seeing the transitions through the seasons because remember when it first happened, it was still like the end of summer.
Right.
But then it was taking us in October, like it transitions us there, like
it seemed like. I'm not gonna lie. So my whole thing is, right,
You about to lie.
No, I'm not. Peter Parker. They're the smartest people I know. Why the fuck didn't he think to go talk to the MIT lady before he did it? like, I'm just like, no, literally, like, I'm like,
but you got
he's
a kid.
He's like,
yeah, that's
yeah.
He's 16, 17
and
years old.
They play on that heavily.
And then
I like that though. I like that. Like
they do play on that. He's smart, but he's a kid.
He was a freshman in college before. You followed administration freshman year, first semester.
You know what I'm saying? You don't really listen. You don't go up against like, you know what I'm saying. You don't
so
really
he
make
was like,
good.
oh yeah, I'm out.
He was like, oh yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it.
Dr.
Let's
Strange
go.
was like, Dr. Hayes. So he goes, when you say convince them.
You mean like I could have called them up and
he was like,
completed my case?
You didn't call her before you. I literally was thinking multiverse.
Is that not like a teenage situation?
Yeah.
Granted,
it was in a good way.
Everything up until that point in the movie, the thing I like about this movie so much is what they did was that it was the whole trilogy, but what I like in this movie is that they finalized that transition of Peter Parker just being this fucking kiddish Spider-Man into now this mature, you know what I'm saying, seasoned hero that knows what comes with the risk of people knowing your identity, you know what I'm saying, what you're really trying to do and what your goal is. Like he finally realized that this isn't some kiddish game where you can just like, you know what I'm saying, like you could just do whatever and people ain't gonna try to kill you and stuff like that. Like there's real ramifications for everything that you do. Like you know what I'm saying? So yeah, positive and negative. So I definitely love that about the movie. But this part of the movie was cool because like you really get to see him like it's kind of like they peppering what's coming up next in the MCU. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he going into his college years, which I hope that means he getting in there with Iceman and Firestar. Like you know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that's what happened. That would be so lit if that happens.
Tom Holland apparently signed off for 3 more movies for another trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about this trilogy, when you really realize it, bro, when I got to like the end of the movie, or like maybe halfway through the movie, it hit me like, oh my God, this whole first trilogy was his origin story.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Like
you get what I mean? Like, they spent 3 movies of him being Spider-Man, but that was him still growing up. Remember, like, even in the first movie, he was trying to web sling on shit that you really can't really web sling on. He was running, he was catching the buses places, like, and in the second movie, he kind of he was maneuvering a lot more, you know what I'm saying? He fought Thanos, and you know what I'm saying? He was a lot more seasoned, but if you see in this one, like, it's a completely different thing. Like, he in the air doing all the acrobatic stuff,
with
MJ
on his back.
Right, like you get what I'm saying? Like, so it's tight to see.
In the first movie.
That's tough,
Nah, for real, like the way that it transitioned, like I love that, like this movie, like I feel like the other movies in this origin film dealt more with him being in high school more than him actually being Spider-Man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was him dealing with more Peter Parker stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Aunt May getting him dressed for the prom or the school dance or whatever was going on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then it's like, as the movies went on, it's more and more him like, nah. Like, the Peter Parker is now fading into the background. And now it's just about Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, it's just crazy to see like how that's happening, like how he has to mature with the things. But if y'all don't know, this happened in the comic book too, kind of. Not him not being in the college, but everyone knowing that he was Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? And him dealing with them ramifications was pretty much just as bad as this. They just did it in reverse. Like, we'll get to that part. So now he goes to see Doctor Strange. And, you know what I'm saying, just like how Mo was saying, he casts the spell. This little naive, the worst part about it to me was, it wasn't that he even decided to go ask Doctor Strange to do this. It was the fact that he's doing this crazy spell, and Wong literally just told you guys about how dangerous it is to really mess with this. And he's sitting there telling them, yeah, I know, like, everything's falling apart, like, Peter's hair is flying. He's like, yeah, basically everyone who didn't know before Mysterio should still know. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Why don't you say it from the jump?
Yo, that reminded me so much of my little brother. Like, that reminded me of my little brother so much. That reminded me of him so much. Like, everyone should still know. Like, yo, stop talking. Like, I'm trying to do the spell. Like, and he ruins everything. You know what I'm saying? He gets there. All right, so now he's trying to convince MIT to reinstate him. He finds the lady on the bridge, and that's when you realize that he has no access to the Stark satellites anymore.
Yeah, because they shut it after.
They took all that stuff away.
Yeah, they shut everything down.
So that was the first real glimpse. This was like the first couple of these stages of this chapter of the movie let you know, okay, Spider-Man's on his own now. Like, you know what I mean? He doesn't really have Tony Stark. Like, he has Tony Stark tech, but he but he really doesn't have access to everything that is Tony Stark anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everything in these movies, you realize he's getting limited to the resources that the original Spider-Man would actually have. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, hold on. Before we go, can we get into how inside of Doctor Strange's house was? Like, Marvel is doing their thing with the scenes and stuff, cause
it said it was from Siberia.
Yeah, he was like, we opened a portal from Siberia. Like, the whole we gotta.
And they use that in the trailers to trick us into thinking that was like later on in the movie than it actually was.
Yeah, we thought it was something going on at that point.
Yeah. But it wasn't even that. It wasn't even Mephisto like I thought it was.
I was saying it was Mephisto, but nah.
Even down to like when he was actually casting the spell, like, did y'all pay attention to like all the stuff that was going on inside, like the rings and stuff? Like, that was crazy.
I couldn't, like,
that was crazy. I was like, I was captivated. I was like,
I just thought like it did remind me. You know what it did remind me of the most though? Loki. When Kane the Conqueror and the multiverse like split at the end of that, it like a lot of that like reminded me of that and them episodes of What If, like when Ultron and Uatu was like fighting each other. It reminded me a lot of those little multiversal like little openings and breaks.
When they go through the
like it was so deep when I saw that. It was so like graphic. So now he gets to the bridge. And he finds the teacher, but now boom, he runs into Doc Ock. He fights Doc Ock, you know what I'm saying? Which was, you know what I'm saying, it was cool. What I think that was so interesting to me was that they used it was just like some comic book shit. Like in the comic books called Spiderman, right? Pretty much. Alright, so the main superheroes in the main 616 universe, right?
Yeah.
They were more, all of their villains are more powerful than the ones in the Ultimate Universe, right? So in the MCU, right, the MCU mirrors the Ultimate Universe more. So it was cool how pretty much seeing all the, like, Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man is like it's like a main universe, you get what I'm saying? Because all of his villains was a lot more powerful than Peter could really handle for himself in his own universe. You get what I'm saying? So it was crazy to see that nanotech of Iron Man, take over the tentacles and stuff. Because without that Tony Stark suit, Spider-Man dies right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? This Peter really was not prepared to fight these villains. What it takes, the casualties that would come with it, but because of Tony Stark and his remnants, that's really what like carried him through only to a certain point in this movie. Like, you get what I'm saying? So that was dope to see. That was dope to like, you know what I'm saying, really experience. You know
even how they took up like the design of it, the colors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. Bro.
Yeah. Because
I thought at first Doc Ock, like, it adapted to him, and he was about to have, like, I was about to say, hold up, what?
Because they're both artificial intelligences, like the arms and the nano machines on the Iron Spider suit or whatever. So what happened was they started talking with each other, and they started pairing up. But Iron Man has the superior. The thing, like again, that's what makes this universe so important for this Spider-Man. The technology in this universe is so advanced than all of the other Spider-Mans and all of that combined.
Hey, you know why that is also tough, bro?
What?
Because during the time of life, that's where we're at. Like, if you think about it, like, of course, like, what did they have back with Tobey? What year was Tobey Maguire?
2001.
2002.
What PlayStation was we playing?
2.
Exactly.
Was it 2?
It's a P5 now.
Yeah. So
I think PlayStation 2 I think had just been introduced around that time.
So,
as a matter of fact,
think about it. It's a P5 out now, so it's like if we was to go back in time, or if we out early,
the hottest phone out was a Razor, bro.
Yeah.
The hottest phone out was a Razor.
Yeah,
bro.
so we walk in, we would be like, P5.
Yeah, not.
We got mad at you.
It's just like how you said, like with Doc Ock, he was like, "You really outdone yourself this time, Peter." Like when he saw like the nano machines or whatever,
and even Electro, Jamie Foxx. He was like, "Oh, this feels different." When he was charging up, he was like, "Oh, this feels different." I like it.
And I like that because it lets you know that like the energy, like this universe is different. It works with a different set of physics, math, and like you know what I'm saying. Like, and I bang with that. Then what? Green Goblin shows up. They like swoop him out of there. You get to see a Green Goblin cameo, and then they swoop him out of there, and then. That's when you really realize that the Green Goblin is really the main villain in this Spider-Man film. Like, all of these other people are like, you know what I mean? Like, they're villains in the movie, but it's really this Spider-Man versus Green Goblin again. That's really what the movie comes down to.
And to me, honestly, Sandman wasn't even really a villain like that.
And neither was Doc Ock, really.
So Doc Ock wasn't a villain. Doc Ock turned. Like, you know, what's Doc Ock turn?
So, what was I going to say? What was I going to say? I just lost it. Oh, no. So is the Green Goblin Spider-Man's like arch nemesis? Is that like the Joker?
Yep.
Okay.
I would say that. It's literally that. So it was crazy to see William Dafoe come back not only as the same villain as he was in that original Spider-Man film, but to come back and I feel like do the role even better than he did in the original, in the original Spider-Man.
He really turned.
He really turned up. Like
I said, oh yeah, he got it.
He really turned up. And then you know what's funny? At that point in time, it's funny how this movie really went. Like, if you really pay attention to it, like, remember how I tell you, like, it went through the seasons? Mm-hmm. At this point in the movie, it was creepy as fuck. Because now they got Doc Ock hidden, like, in the chamber, and he's talking about that man is a ghost. Like, you know what I'm saying? Green Goblin is dead. Norman Osborn died years ago.
It was like they both died.
Right? Yeah. No, they didn't even get to that part yet.
Oh yeah.
When it was just Doc Ock saying, "Yeah, so you're either flying out there into the darkness, or you're fighting the ghost." And then you just have you just got Parker swinging in the motherfucking like in the forest and stuff, and it just got that creepy ass music. That's when it hit me and there that this was the real villain. Like it was like the ghost of Spider-Man's past. Coming to like really like deal with his ass. You know what I'm saying?
Do y'all like William Dafoe's Green Goblin act in this movie, or Heath Ledger's Joker better?
It's too. I'm gonna still say Heath Ledger for now, just because it's too early for me to like just give it to William Dafoe like that. But please don't ask me no question like that.
I want to say. It's hard to say.
I mean, because they both played psychos.
But William Dafoe's
he played two characters.
Yeah, it was like seeing Split. Remember the movie?
Yeah, and that was a hell of a performance.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was playing Norman Osborn and Green Goblin in the same body. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was cool to see like that mental illness aspect of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? No matter how like far off the rails someone is, we should always try to help them. You know what I'm saying? It was. I don't know, because you know what? It's hard to stay neck and neck because they got the one up on their hero. You know what I'm saying? Like when the Joker came into the building and he killed Rachel, like that was like the biggest loss that Batman had to deal with. Green Goblin, he comes in. Aunt May tries to help the other superheroes and stuff like that.
He hit her with
he killed her the same way he died in
I was
his
going to say that.
universe.
That's how he died.
Yeah. I remember that.
And it just from the carnage of that fight, the nigga just going through like Pow driving him, snap mirroring him into the like
big power bomb, bro. Big power bomb.
He hit the Spiderman joint when the PS4 move when he said, and then he like did the power drive. I was like, oh, they go
big tombstones on my man, big tombstones.
He punching him in the face, and William Dafoe just laughing.
Yeah, like,
That was the most creepiest thing, because you want to know why? If you don't know, Spider-Man is always pulling his punches. You know what I'm saying? He never punches somebody with his full strength, because if he did, he would knock somebody's, like, your jaw would just go fly over there, like some Mortal Kombat stuff. He always pulls his punches. But with William Dafoe, he was really sitting there like, but because he has that same superhuman ability, he's sitting there just laughing. And that was the point in the movie where I realized,
son, got injected with stuff.
Yeah. So he's sitting there laughing, and that's when I realized this is just one villain. And Lizard outside, Electro outside. I'm thinking to myself, and none of these Spider-Men are to be found. And in the movie theater, I'm sitting there thinking to myself,
damn,
oh my God, Toby! Andrew, where are you guys?
My back was genius, because you know we were all. I don't care who you are. We were all looking for it. We were all looking for the Spider-Man.
The rumors are soon.
We didn't know if they was going to break
because it was a perfect moment to bring it in, but at the same time, it was one of those things where how the hell was they supposed to know? Like, Spider-Man sneaking around, like sneaking people into, like, he keeping real under the radar right now because he's all the way out into the like open. He fighting all these villains. It's gonna be hard for them to find him. So I'm sitting there, and then so when William Dafoe like boom, 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 and Peter telling Aunt May run, and she grab all this shit. When that happened in the theater, I'm like, oh no, this bitch Uncle Ben. I'm thinking that, right, as she grabbed it and she run down the steps, I said, okay, she getting it down the steps. And then I started noticing how the fight was, how there was boom, breaking through one, and then boom, going down. I was like, oh, she ain't gonna make it to that. She ain't gonna make it to the bottom before they make it to the bottom. And when they made it to the bottom, and he choking Peter the fuck out, and Peter just sitting there about to die, and Aunt May like grabs the needle and saves it. That's when it hit me in the movie. That ain't nobody coming to save these niggas. That's when it hit me in the movie theater. Like, no,
they going out.
Spider-Man and Aunt May may be happy if he pulls up in time. It's gonna have to deal with this. And in my mind, I'm thinking
he had just trapped Doctor Strange.
I was yes. Did I miss that part? Yes.
Yeah. I forgot.
We'll go back to that fight. We'll go back to that fight. So much happened, but we'll go back to that. At that point in the theater, I'm like, there's no one here to help him. Matter of fact, had he not locked away Doctor Strange, he would have found those other Peters faster. Yeah, but because he locked him away, he was on his own, and he was way too deep for a 16, 17-year-old unseasoned Spider-Man. Even I don't know if you fought Thanos.
Even season, bro.
He don't understand how villains work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, him and Aunt May. I get what Aunt May was trying to do, but bitch, you're dumb. Like, why would you do that? Like, you don't know who these niggas have killed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm seeing her like, oh yeah, Peter, you should. I'm like, oh, you don't know. I'm like, you don't know. I'm like, I didn't trust that nigga from the jump, bro. I was like, no, absolutely not.
So
Absolutely not. When he looked at Doc Ock, he said, yeah, just me. I was like, oh nah. I was like, yeah.
that was. So we'll jump back. We'll come right back to that scene. Let's go to that Doctor Strange joint when he now that we're talking about it, like where he realizes that, oh shit, these people are going to their universes to die.
Yeah.
And he wants to be the good person that he is and help them before he can. One, it does make a lot of sense because in this universe, again, the technology, his level is so much more leveled up than the other universes that fixing this is like maybe not such a far-fetched thing as it was in their universe. You know what I mean? And he has Doctor Strange on his side, all this and that. But then I was thinking to myself, Peter, you really about to fight Doctor Strange? And I'm thinking to myself, I was sitting there with Brima, and I'm like, Spider-Man will beat Doctor Strange, right? He said, yeah. And then I was like, but it's not because he's stronger than him. He was like, yeah, he's going to outsmart him somehow. We were sitting there thinking he's going to outsmart, but at first...
Nah, that was crazy.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was slow for Spider-Man at first.
It was slow. Yo, when they first did that, it's funny because Brima was sitting there calling it out in the theaters or whatever, like when he got into his Astro stuff and he was like, oh, snap, Brima was like, his spider sense should at least kick in or something. And then the John and he was going like this, and Brian's like, yeah,
like that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah. He's like, his spider sense kicked in. And I ain't gonna lie, when he laughed and he swam back to his body, he was like, whoa. He was like, I'm like, hey, yo, this is the funniest thing ever because you know what's funny? What you forget is that you guys probably don't know this, but Spidey sense works because it's this big web across multiversal calamities. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a radius of the multiverse. Like, so it like picks up on vibrations and senses things happening in other multiverses to sense that there's something about to happen in this universe type of thing. Does that make sense? You know how everything lines up, like how Uncle Ben died in this that universe and this universe? Like, because those happen in those universes and these universes are somewhat parallel, Spider-Man gets a sixth sense of what's about to happen because it happened across the multiverse somewhere, some way, somehow. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, boom. I don't even remember what I was saying before that.
That's why his Spidey senses kicked in.
Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, that... his spider sense kicking in like how it did, and then him swimming back to his body, that was a dope moment. Him swinging back, and then Doctor Strange starting to like put him in like in the mirror dimension, and he's swinging like through the mall at Christmas, and everying was like, I watched the joint in 3D. I was like, hey, yo. I was looking around like, hey, yo.
Like, bro, I thought it was.
And then they get to the Grand Canyon. And Peter figures out that the mirror universe is just geometry.
He's like, oh, we get the geometry.
He said, I can do this. And then he starts some divided by pi. And then he catches Doctor Strange and locks him up. And I'm like, wow. They're really showing the brilliance of Spider-Man. Yeah. Like, and I like how they're connecting science with magic. You know what I mean? So it shows how he would beat him. Like, yeah, I mean, but you know, he go to one of them high-tech math schools, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're all future engineers.
Yeah, so for him, that was just a piece of cake or a piece of pie. No pun intended or whatever. So, yeah, so now we get back to...
Look at that, boy.
Now we...
I'm gonna get you. I'm sorry.
Yo, alright, so now, boom. We get back to now, Peter is at the lowest point ever. J. Jonah Jameson. Mind you, this man, J. Jonah Jameson, if you saw the beginning of the movie, he was like in some little green screen joint. He had it set up like how we got right now. Like, our stuff actually a little better than his, actually. But like, he had this little green screen for the Daily Bugle. If you notice, later on in the movie, he had a whole newscast job. Like, he really came up off this nigga Spider-Man name. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he made billions niggas on Hanif
Like,
It was
like
still
Skip Bayless.
doing it.
Black Lives Matter. Like, he really, like, came up off that joint. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, really
Skip
came
Bayless came up on Braun.
Exactly. So, boom. He catching Spider-Man all in the main view. Lizard whooping his ass. Green Goblin beating his ass. Aunt May dies. At first, when Aunt May got up, I was like, maybe she's gonna live. And then when she dropped, I was like, damn. And then I don't know what broke me, but when Peter puts like his lips on Aunt May's forehead, he's like, I'm so sorry, Aunt May. And you just see her eye open, and like the camera like zooming in, like as she did, he's like, I'm so sorry, Aunt May. I was like, that shit, bro. At that point,
Yeah,
like
that shit crushed me. That shit crushed me, bro.
I ain't cry, but my eyes got water.
I ain't crying. I was
My eyes got water. My eyes got water. I ain't had to wipe my eyes, so I know I didn't cry. But at that point, I was like, and then I'm seeing Happy get out the car, and he like, Peter, run! And I'm just like, I'm still distraught that Aunt May just died, and I'm just like, I'm sitting there thinking, what Spider-Man version are we about to get? Are we about to get the Spider-Man that's gonna lash out against like all the like the like, are we gonna get the one that's gonna lash out against all the police officers and go crazy? I'm thinking, what Spider-Man are we gonna get? Like, is he gonna like go out on a rage? But then he disappears. You know what I'm saying? That move, and then to see J. Jonah Jameson in the rain saying he just leaves destruction everywhere he goes, and you're just thinking, this is a fucking 16, 17-year-old kid going through all this shit. He just lost his aunt. I don't know, at that point in the movie, I just felt broken. Like, I was like, and I was really thinking to that. I think I said this in another in the Spider-Man like reaction. I was saying he's not ready for these threats. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just not ready. He's not seasoned. He don't know who these niggas is. Like, with the Vulture, he knew how to get the one up on him. He knew her daughter was this, da-da-da. He don't know these niggas for shit. But these niggas coming with that heat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
just over
he wasn't ready for it. And then now you got J. Jonah Jameson just shitting on him and shit. You see Ned, you see Michelle Jones fucking saying, where is Peter right now? At that point in the movie, I'm like, yo, press the fucking button on the box, yo. This shit is over with. Look at this shit. Niggas is dying. Bodies is stinking. They leaving bodies stinking in the building. Cops is asking questions.
And then, bro,
press the fucking button.
Peter was just too soft, bro. He had to realize that at the end of the movie.
Yeah, he had to harden up. He had to fucking harden up.
Cause he should have been pressed that button.
And the thing about it the thing that killed me about Aunt May is that through that whole thing, she's still telling this nigga like, no, you do what's right. You fix them. Even though like she dying, she's still telling no. You know, with great power, comes great responsibility. When she said that line, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, yeah, she gonna bite the dust. It was just such a heavy moment. And then,
because I'm a peaceful person and everything too, so I better spin the blocks or something like that happen for me.
See, because this is my thing, bro.
I can't. There's no way I could keep rocking and keep like, you know what I'm saying?
But that was the battle in the movie that I love so much. After we saw Aunt May die, we knew that Norman Osborn wasn't right in the fucking mind and that the Green Goblin was controlling his mind, but we all didn't care. Yeah. We wanted that nigga smoke. Yeah. We wanted to smoke Green Goblin patch at the end of the movie.
Oh, so alright, so you felt that way about Green Goblin, but you don't feel that way about Bucky?
I didn't like Iron Man enough to really care for him, so I don't really care.
He really loves.
We never knew Iron Man parents like that. They only showed up like in Civil. Aunt May, we saw him like dress him up to go to the fucking school dance and shit. She was helping, like, you know what I'm saying? She was putting this kid in all the little programs. Like, we low key watched her raise Peter. Like, you know what I'm saying? We didn't watch Iron Man's parents raise him. Like, you know what I'm saying? I felt bad for Iron Man, but I didn't feel like I lost Iron Man's parents. When Aunt May died, I felt like I lost Aunt. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's definitely.
I was gonna say it's like cow and chicken. You never seen their parents, bro.
Yeah, you never seen that face.
Yeah.
Now, you get what I'm saying? Like,
don't worry about it.
so it's one of them.
You
You know what I'm saying?
It's not that I care
Aunt May
more
was
so
personal,
about-
bro.
Yeah, no, it definitely was personal.
It was
And
personal.
it's not that I even care about Howard Stark and shit like that, bro. I just really wanted Bucky Barnes to get crushed, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I just wanted Iron Man just had to get his lick back, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, but I'm sorry.
But bro, for real, Peter shouldn't have fixed them. Like,
It
it don't matter. When they go back in their universe, bro, it ain't like they gonna enjoy the benefits of them being fixed.
Maybe, maybe not.
Bro, you think just because they blipped away from some time, they gonna go back and everybody's just gonna forget what they've done?
Depending on the end of the movie, yeah.
Oh, hell no. Bro, they're in a different...
He said, "Oh hell."
They're in a different universe.
Nah, you're right.
They're
Right,
already dead.
The more I think about it, yeah, nah, you fucking right. They ain't
Peter
gonna.
made it.
But Peter, that goes back into Peter being young and naive, and the fact that it's back to what Aunt May said. If you can at least try, if you have the power to at least try, if you're the one that's the most powerful to try this, then you have to do it. Like, you get what I'm saying? You have to at least try.
He definitely should have. Pressed that button off the bat.
I'd have smoked Green Goblin. The pressing that button would have fixed everything. But you know what? It changes everything. Because at that moment of the movie, Peter was going to press that button. Like, you know what I'm saying? At that point in the movie, after he got hid and he found out with Michelle Jones, MJ, when they found him on that rooftop. Before that, let's get to it. These niggas put the saddest shit that you can see in the MCU, one of the saddest things, and then right after that scene, put one of the most happiest scenes you can see in the fucking MCU. Y'all notice that?
Yeah.
Aunt May dies, and then after that, this is enter. Ned opens up the portal. You know what I'm saying? And you know what's funny?
Great job controlling the emotion.
Before we even get to that, Ned is showing powers of his real magic. If y'all don't know that, Ned has magic in the comic books, and he's the Hobgoblin in the comic books. So
that's why he was able to see at first because you know I didn't know he was the I don't even know who the damn Hobgoblin.
He isn't the Hobgoblin, but in the comic books, Ned Leeds becomes the Hobgoblin in the future.
I don't know who that is, but I'm gonna check it out. But I knew he was something special because at first I thought it was like the ring.
It is the ring, but it
wouldn't-
unlocks the magic when you use the sling ring. It unlocks the magic that you can use or whatever.
Oh, anybody.
Yeah, so
if I
he
had
was
a ring on, I could.
Yes, with practice. But he had in the beginning of the movie, he said that his family had magic in it.
All right, yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
So that's
he
why
said sometimes he gets these tingly things in his hands. Doctor Strange,
like, you should see it. You should see
a
it.
physician. Yeah. Doctor Strange plays it off, but it's not that. It's for real. Like, you know what I'm saying. So that's a big Easter egg. We're gonna get to that in a second, right?
All right, go ahead.
All right, so we open the portal up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Spider-Man in there, and they're yelling Peter. It didn't even hit me that, oh shit, this is Andrew Garfield about to jump through the portal. And when he jumped in, I was
I'm like, damn, Peter, you got swole as shit.
And then when he
I was like,
that's when it hit me like, oh, this ain't Tom Holland. And he took the mask off, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
they fucking did it. I was like, they fucking did it. Like, I was like, oh my God, like I literally lost my shit. I'm like, what the fuck? And then he's sticking to the joint. He being funny, like the funny, Andrew Garfield, Peter Parker that he was, all swaggy. Let me say, Andrew Garfield played his best fucking Peter Parker in this movie.
Yeah.
This was the best I've ever seen him as Spider-Man. And that doesn't take anything away from his Amazing Spider-Man movies. The Amazing Spider-Man movies are cool. They're just not evolutionary to me. It has nothing to do with Andrew Garfield. That has to do more so with the story that Sony decided to write around him and fuck up.
Yeah, they fucked that up for him.
Yeah, they fucked up the bad for him. But maybe they might have fixed it. Maybe we'll see him in something else now because, the fans are going to want this now. Sony's always about that money. So if they can make like a side universe Spider-Man, I wouldn't even fucking be mad. But,
would you go see it opening night?
With Andrew Garfield, yeah.
Alright.
I would, yeah.
Okay.
Because, Marvel at least corrected the problems with them for the temporary time being. If Sony drops the ball now, that's on them.
Yeah.
But they've been known to do a couple good movies, so I ain't gonna say all that. But boom, so now we get Andrew Garfield in this film, and then he's like, okay, we'll just open another portal and find another Peter. And then that's before he opens the portal. That's when I realized, oh shit. We're gonna get the OG in this one.
He walked through that joint, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That's what I was like.
That was when my eyes got watered.
Yeah,
that was when I was like, And he walked in, he said, and I was like, oh. And then he was talking like, yeah, I've seen you two. I know about you two because now I guess what he's saying is that he's been watching the news and he's been seeing them on the news or whatever. And then he's like, wait, this Spider-Man, like, you know, they know they help Spider-Man, but they know that's not the Spider-Man. So he's sitting there, and it was, I don't know what it was, but that 3 seconds was, I'm not gonna lie, like, low-key my top 2 favorite seconds in the draw. when they was just like, when they looked at each other, they said, like, you're not, when he said, and they just did a whole flip in the kitchen and said, I said, oh shit! Like, cause I don't know what it is about Tobey Maguire, but ever since Spider-Man 3, even though it's like one of the most hated Spider-Man movies, I just fucking love when Tobey Maguire, or Spider-Man period, is fighting with his like normal clothes on. Like, I don't know what it is about that that's just so fucking cool to me, just to see him do a flip and like, you know what I'm saying, with like none of his suit on and shit. I don't know, but that was like
it was also cool how they kept like how the 2 younger Spider-Mans had technology as webs.
Mm-hmm.
And Toby, that just
organic. Yeah,
that was cool.
That was like the comic books though.
But
some versions of comic books that's organic, and some of them we got web cartridges
right.
for real. So it depends on which universe or which comic book of Spider-Man that you actually listen to. I really believe that actually really came from the same Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. After that, I really feel like they started making comic books of like organic webs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But boom, they get into the movie, and at this point, I don't know what to feel right now. Like, I feel like you've seen an old. Right now, the feeling I have in the movie theater is I'm seeing an old friend at a funeral. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's the feeling I have in the movie theater right now. Like, Aunt May died, but like
she's one of my really good friends.
But you seen one of your good friends.
Hold on, what?
Yeah, like you ain't seen them in a long time, and it was something about that like triggers more. Yeah, it's something that triggers you more emotionally. Like, damn, like why you here too? Like, they gone. They, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you like, damn, good. And then they go to meet Peter. And Peter's all standoffish in the rain. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, he's like, you guys got to get away. And I ain't going to lie, the monologue Andrew Garfield does when he's like, I stopped pulling my punches and I lost my Gwen Stacy. Like,
he was like, yeah, I lost my MJ. That's when Peter's like, damn. Yeah. Because he was trying to be like, oh, don't. And he lost Uncle Ben, too.
Yeah. He lost Uncle
Ben, and he lost Gwen.
But what hurt him the most, clearly, was his Gwen Stacy. Yeah. That's like Spider-Man losing his marriage. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to remember that way more than his Uncle Ben. Like, Uncle Ben is like, well, he was old. You know?
Then Toby,
it's like, nah,
then Toby's like, yeah, I lost my Uncle Ben. And he's like, nah, damn. Like, and clearly, and this was the badder younger version or whatever of Aunt May. So this one didn't have an Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
It took me a little bit to like.
I think Uncle Ben in this version of Spider-Man was a fling, like, just like one of her boyfriends that was in her life maybe 3-4 years and shit, and then she kind of got bored with him and she wanted a new nigga or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what it is because there's a suitcase that says Ben Parker on the jump, but I think maybe he did die. Maybe he died. But maybe
they was young.
No, maybe he died or whatever. Yeah, like they were young, but maybe Aunt May dealt more so with the death more than Peter did. Like they were related through Uncle Ben, but she just kind of took him in because you see the type of person Aunt May is. She got the whole feasting. Yeah, it's totally in her nature to okay, let me take this kid in.
She the auntie.
Yeah.
She that auntie.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that auntie.
Boom. they're sending them that whole monologue, and then they get into the laboratory, and they're now like talking, they're hashing out what's kind of been happening in their universes and stuff like that. It was just such a crazy, surreal moment to just see three Peters working on laboratory shit.
Like they did the joint.
Yeah, like
they did the little meme.
Yeah, like that, but with the lab coats on and shit. Yeah, that shit was that shit was that was in that moment. The part that I pulled out the most from that moment was that Ned Lee asks Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Peter 2, to do you have a best friend in your universe? And then he says, well, you know, he died after he tried to kill me. Really. And then that looks to the other, he looks to Peter 3, Andrew Garfield, and he's like, what? And Andrew Garfield giving that look like, yeah, that shit kind of happened in my universe too, nigga. Like, like you know what I'm saying? So he looking, and then he tells Peter, I promise you, I won't turn around and kill you or be a villain at the end of this, John. And then Toby's like, yeah, man, good job, man. Yeah. But you know what's so fucked up? That was the crazy foreshadow, bro.
That's probably exactly what's going to happen.
That's exactly what's
going to
happen.
So the Hobgoblin is again. Oh snap! If I remember, the Hobgoblin looks like the Green Goblin.
Yeah, but
it's orange.
Yeah, orange. In the cartoons, yeah.
And his face is just really ugly. He don't wear masks.
And he know magic.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I just caught on to that foreshadow.
And the thing about it is, in this part of the movie, I'm thinking to myself, oh yeah, you know what? There's no way this nigga can end up being like, you know what I'm saying, a op to Peter. You know what I'm saying? At this point in the movie, I'm thinking, yeah, there's no way. But I'm thinking, that's a very crazy foreshadow. In my mind, I'm just thinking, damn. That I just can't ignore that you saying that, like, you know what I'm saying. But they move past that, you know what I'm saying. They're telling each other, you know, they getting all the serums together. I like that they give us a little bit more lore about what's been happening in the other universes,
right.
Like how Toby watched Harry die from that serum. He watched Norman die from that serum, so he's been thinking about the serum to cure. Like, you know what I'm saying. It's nice to just know that he's been thinking about that since Spider-Man 3, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, what if I could have, you know, cured them? Like, you know what I'm saying? It was tight that Andrew Garfield was like, well, yeah, I already cured mine, so, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That shit is just mind-blowing to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, just explain. Like, it's because in this moment, they're canonizing everything that happened in all those other Spider-Mans and saying that... You don't know what canon... they made it canon.
Okay, when you say canonized, like, I never heard no. You know how like you never heard no one use that word. So I'm like, hold on, are you just trying to make something?
I think I probably did, but the word canon, like, they made these Spider-Man movies canon in the MCU. Like, somewhere in the MCU multiverse, these other Spider-Man movies exist. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I did like. It shows me that they watch. Obviously, they watch Twitter and stuff like that a lot, because I do like how Andrew Garfield played on him being the worst Spider-Man.
The worst Spider-Man.
Yeah, but that was actually pretty hilarious.
He wasn't the worst Spider-Man. He was just given the worst stories. Like, he was given the worst structure around him.
That was what that means,
bro. It ain't just him. It's the movie, bro. It's the whole sometimes that's just the whole. And Marvel shows you though. MCU, Disney shows you that put this nigga in an MCU film and watch this nigga work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not him. It was everything else around him. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I just realized he's the only one that didn't get a trilogy.
Yeah. Does this count as his trilogy?
Nah. But he's in a good amount.
He got resolution. And you want to know? You know what really surprised me about this film? From the trailers, I thought that we were gonna get a lot of Doctor Strange. But
we got a lot of
Toby and Ed. I did not expect us to get like these niggas for a good amount of the movie.
Oh,
like,
you thought it was just gonna be like
a quick little cameo, maybe at the. I don't know. Yeah, like I
thought we was just gonna get it at the end.
But we really got into these. Like they really had real like scenes, like interact. Like that was what was so dope to me. Like damn, I really thought Strange was gonna be the nigga that was. You know how like in every Spider-Man movie he has his own mentor. Mm-hmm. The first one it was Iron Man. The second one was Nick Fury. Mm-hmm. Well, Skrull Nick Fury. And this third one, it's not even Doctor Strange. It's him, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. Like no one could have seen that shit coming. Like him mentoring him how he did. Like
pulled a Loki.
Yeah, that was and it's crazy because speaking of Loki, I feel like that's the only reason this story can even happen.
Because of Loki.
Because Loki happened, now there's no TVA controlling all of the timelines and the streamlines as to what's supposed to happen. So now that all these things have branched off, because mind you,
just exposed that whole
Peter goes to Bleecker Street to go see Doctor Strange in that moment, TVA shows up like, hey, nah, nigga.
Yeah,
off the bat.
Right.
Yeah, off the bat. Off the bat.
But because Loki happens, now these things are allowed to happen unsupervised. You get what I'm saying?
Loki walk. So Spider-Man can swing.
Facts. And like how Green Goblin comes, bro, and is about to murder. Killing Aunt May wasn't enough. He's about to do. MJ is about to be toast. And then Peter trying to save her, and then he pushed Peter out the way like that. Then you gonna lose her too.
Man,
my man Andrew Garfield got injured, but I'm not gonna lie, he got his redemption. And when he held her, and he just looked at her, and was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, bro, y'all don't even know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
The theater I was in went crazy.
They just don't know that that's how he never really explained that's how his MJ died. Like he just said that she died for nothing. He didn't say that's exactly how she died. He was like, "Oh, I seen this shit before." But that was a very intense scene.
So she was like, "Are you okay?"
Something about this Green Goblin and the way he was put together. It was cool that they gave us like that pre-fight before. It was cool to see this Green Goblin because they were fighting Sandman, Lizard, and Electro, right? Mm-hmm. All three of the Spider-Man. First of all, that was dope as fuck when they started coordinating like their spidey senses and they swinging in the air. Right. And this nigga Tom Holland webs both of them and yanks them in the middle of the sky and they do like that old little twist and shit. And then they land and the OG Spider-Man like this on the jaw and shit and then he land in the middle. I was like,
when they wasn't giving me that first. And then he was like, okay. She was like, yeah, sorry, I've never been part of a team. And he was like, I was your Avengers. He was like, great. What's that? I was like, oh shit.
And then he said, shut up, everybody listen to Peter 1. And then he was like,
during their time.
There was no Avengers in their universes.
They're marvelous.
That was in 2001. That was in the beginning. That was like in the very beginning, bro. Like there was there even a Captain America movie?
No. Iron Man, when Spider-Man came out, the only thing that came out with it was X-Men.
Yeah. And then the MCU started, I
think this movie really works mainly because Kevin Feige had to do with all those films. Kevin Feige, the producer of Marvel, he sat back and was like on the backseat on a lot of those movies, for real. So he got to learn what to do, what not to do. But that's a whole nother video for another day.
Right.
But long story short, all right, boom. So these Spider-Mans, they fighting. We getting some of I don't even understand what I'm seeing right now. This is the same feeling I had when in Civil War, you got Iron Man going against Captain America, and they at the airport scene and they clashing. I'm getting this feeling right now, but times 10 in Adidas. Like, damn, these niggas is just you know what I'm saying, going at it right now. You know what I'm saying? And it was just dope to just see Tobey Maguire back and it was his perfect suit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know what it was. Like when he was in that Statue of Liberty and like the Sandman was like trying to suffocate him or whatever. He was reaching out. That just gave me original Spider-Man Sam Raimi vibes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he was just reaching out there and he was like the sand was like taking him, but they was like all in tune with their spidey sense. So he like Andrew Garfield throwing a little antidote and then that nigga catch it in the air and then he threw it and then they using their spidey sense so he caught it blindly and shit. And
that was beautiful. It was beautiful, man. It was beautiful.
Perfection. It was fucking perfection.
I just seen that whole scene in my head.
Nah, literally, bro.
And then I know y'all. Alright, so they resolved this shit. Doctor Strange finally gets his way out. You know what I'm saying? Of the joint.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if y'all was feeling like this, but as soon as I heard that, no, you know, before that, I'm gonna say this. When Jamie Foxx was in the motherfucking clouds and shit as Electro, and he's like, yeah, Peter. I thought he was gonna be like, yeah, I'm the real nigga. Like, I don't know why I thought he was gonna say that.
He was like, Andrew Garfield said, you're not even the shit no more.
She said, oh, God. Yeah, he was like, Peter. Jamie Foxx was brilliant with, even though they didn't even give him a lot to do, they fixed Electro so much in this film by just giving him the arc reactor.
Right.
Because it's crazy to think, oh shit, Electro gets the arc reactor in his hands. There's no telling how much power this nigga really can have. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy how they be repurposing Tony Stark's text for fucking everything in this fucking film. Like, you know what I'm saying? He gets that arc reactor and he's a whole different beast. None of the Spider-Mans can take him. And it was cool to see Doc Ock. I think Doc Ock was such a good villain in Spider-Man 2 that Kevin Feige and John Watts, they must have been thinking, nah, he's got to kind of be an ally this whole John because he was too brilliant of a villain in Spider-Man 2. It's better off to just make him an ally. And it was cool how they used it because, you know, his tentacles was really made to harness the power of the sun. So that's why he was able to grab onto Electro's chest with his tentacles because it was meant to like absorb that type of energy. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was cool that he took him out and he ended up helping all the Peter Parkers like at the end. I think that was dope. But now get back to
that chip. He fixed the chip in his back.
Yeah. So he was like in control of the arm instead of the arm being in control of him. Now you hear Green Goblin fucking laughing in the fucking background. I know y'all niggas must have been like, yo, nigga, I've been waiting to see you, nigga.
Hey, bro, I'm not gonna lie.
That was
I wanted Peter to kill him.
I wanted Green Goblin back
I wanted
bad.
the smoke Green Goblin gas.
Man, so
wasn't happening.
he throws all the. I think that shit was tight. How this Green Goblin, because he already fought with one Spider-Man and went toe to toe with the best Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. I think it was dope that he knew. Like it was dope to see that. Okay, now that he learned how to go against that one Spider-Man that literally almost fighting these three Spider-Mans at the same time is fucking light work. As long as he got some innocent bystanders around, as long as he got some other little variables and it ain't just him and Spider-Man, he can fucking work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he like, oh, we got some innocent niggas here. Oh, I'm gonna get grimy on this nigga. He start throwing grenades, and the way to see all the Spider-Mans is do the slow motion, like, you know what I'm saying? Sam Raimi original cut, like little spiral shit in the air. But then one of the grenades go into the fucking what's it called? The McCall, the Tomb of McCall. That's what the box was called that helped spell it.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
The Ruins of McCall or something like that. So the bomb goes in there, boom, explodes it. The whole multiverse start cracking. And that, in my mind, is when I really start thinking, oh, this nigga Goblin's a fucking menace.
Oh, yeah.
This nigga ain't gotta be stopped. This nigga has to be stopped. Like, this nigga gotta be. At this point, I'm thinking, he's cracked open the multiverse, and this nigga is just, it's at this point in the movie where you realize that this nigga is just psycho. He don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
like,
you don't even know how dangerous.
Yeah, like, he don't even realize what the fuck he really, that Green Goblin, because at this point, all the other villains at least had somewhat of a morality. Jamie Foxx, Electro, had like, I like the power here more. We ain't got no fucking arc reactor in my universe. We ain't really got shit in my universe.
Sandman really just wanted.
Sandman was just like,
want to go home.
He's like, bro, I kind of got a daughter. I'm trying to do that. And y'all niggas keep playing. Like, you fix some of these niggas, but come on.
Doc Ock was fixed. He was
Doc Ock was cool, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
but yeah, Green Goblin.
But Green Goblin, like, he didn't give up. Like, he had no type of morality. He killed Aunt May, and he didn't even think. The way that scene was written, I'm sitting there like, maybe there's a way Aunt May gets out of this. I'm thinking, Toby's going to jump in and, sling the glide. And then, but then I really thought, nah,
And then he told Peter's son, he was like, you killed her. He was like, he's like, I'm the one that did it, but you
killed her.
You killed her. I'm like, bro, can you?
Yeah, you should have sent everybody home. He should have sent everybody home. That really was
his 16-year-old.
But
come on, bro.
The way they fighting on the shield at the end of the movie, it's daylight coming through.
Hey, Peter is
living.
Oh my God, Peter is beating his ass. Oh my God, powerbomb after powerbomb, big moves from the video game. I'm like,
this fight to me,
triangle, circles, R1.
This fight to me, honestly, it's not the best final fight I've seen in a Marvel movie, but it is like one of the most emotionally filled fight. Like, just like at the end of Civil War when Iron Man, Captain America, Bucky was fighting each other, that actually was a hell of a really good fight. That was actually a really good fight. That was actually one of the top finale fights. But the emotion behind that fight, us just feeling angry, and he just letting off on Green Goblin. Green Goblin, just blowing up Michelle Jones, the fucking fall to her death, and then Tom Holland trying to save her, and he just knock him out the way, and he just laughing like, ha ha ha. I'm sitting to myself like, oh my God, this nigga is menacing.
But you know what? I realized he lost it when he first came in. Because remember, he smashed the helmet.
I think that was Norman Osborn trying to fight it off. But I think that Green Goblin is still smart himself. And so he stayed dormant inside Norman because he knew that that version of Norman would lead him to Spider-Man. You get what I'm saying? And knowing, there's no telling what this nigga Green Goblin is really up to, in the grand scheme of all things. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a nutty situation to be in with a nigga who don't even give a fuck because he's not even all there in his mind. You know what I'm saying? They even care. Like Otto Octavius, he had he had killed people, but this nigga Green Goblin is a different type of villain because Green Goblin want to kill who you care about. You know what I'm saying?
He don't want to hit you.
Dr. Octopus would just kill everybody around. If he throw this car with children and kids in it, so be it. You didn't know them people. But Green Goblin nah, fuck them. I'm not really trying. I'll kill them, yeah. But I really want to kill her. You know what I'm saying? And watch you do it.
I want you
to watch.
He pulled that nigga hair back and said, look at her. Take one good look at Aunt May. And then he sent that fucking glider through her. And then he said, you'll thank me later. Grab the grenade, throws it out like overkill. And Peter's trying his best to throw that shit out, but it still blow up right the fuck right there. That was the most ruthless I've ever seen Green Goblin. In this movie, William Dafoe was it's after he fought Toby.
Was it Thanos was?
No.
You said what?
Actually, maybe, because nah. Thanos was trying to save the universe. He knew more than what the average person really knows. No one given Eternals.
So did Norman Osborn.
No, he didn't.
He was more than the average human?
But Green Goblin had his own motives. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's hard to say. But, boom. He beats his ass. Toby stops the nigga. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That was a real heartfelt moment.
I was okay. And then he stabs Toby.
I'm like, yo, kill this nigga, yo.
And then
He told me like, you haven't been stabbed before. What?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Spider-Man can take it.
I'm not gonna lie. Toby would have.
Spider-Man's been injured like that. It takes a lot more to. You'd have to like behead Spider-Man or like kill him like that.
How would you seen Spider-Man die in a video game? When I be dying in a video game.
Yeah. So we were wrapping up after that. Peter has to tell everybody gotta forget who Peter Parker is. That shit was a little heartbreaking.
You can see Doctor Strange didn't want to do it, and for MJ, and that
they didn't want to. But that was the moment in the movie where I realized, oh shit, Ned gonna be the next villain for sure. He not gonna know who Peter is
at all.
He not gonna be able to. He not gonna remember. And then it was funny because when he first did it, when Doctor Strange first was casting the spell, I didn't really feel it like necessarily right then and there. But watching the ramifications of it, him going around when he went in there, and he was going to tell Mary Jane like, "Hey, I'm Peter Parker," and he couldn't even tell her because he realized at this point in the movie he's matured so much that he realizes that these niggas done got into MIT. Like, them being, you gonna fuck up their life, you know what I'm saying? Yep. He realized he gotta be Spider-Man all by himself. His path is different from these niggas, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
he's at the funeral, when he's at the, not the funeral, when he's at May's
gravesite,
and Happy's like, how'd you know her? That shit hit me.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
I'm like,
he's
Happy
like,
this nigga.
I knew it through Spider-Man. I'm like, sure. And then he didn't even.
Did y'all notice though? That's how the first Spider-Man ended. The very first Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like Sam Raimi, Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. Remember, Green Goblin dies, and Harry and Peter are at his funeral site. Like, and Harry, that's where Harry is telling Peter, like, I'm gonna kill Spider-Man, or I'm gonna find Spider-Man and I'm gonna kill him. You notice that how, it's tight how Marvel is using these parallel universes to kind of like tell the story. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is how this version happens in this universe. You know what I'm saying?
Like, it ends with him in the small ass apartment.
And that Tobey Maguire ass apartment.
What if was a great way to prepare us for this?
Yeah. It was.
Because now what if it happened like this?
Yeah.
What if it happened? Damn. Marvel. You guys and ladies are just.
And I thought I wanted to hear a final monologue from Peter swinging through the city and shit, but it was just crazy that it was like, nah, we just gonna get dead silence. And he's swinging all alone. It's just him.
And he got his normal original suit. None of that.
That classic shit. He sold it with Aunt May's riveting machine from that you saw earlier in the movie and shit like that. Like,
he don't got none of that Tony Stark.
Yeah, he don't got none of that Tony Stark tech. Yeah.
Wow.
He ain't even talk. Like, he just got straight to it. Like,
he was like, yeah, run through on the first, don't be late.
It was like the most heroic but heartbreaking shit I felt like I've had to feel in a movie in a long time. Since probably Endgame.
Yeah.
Since probably Endgame. I was like, damn. And then it really, like, I keep hitting this and saying that this was a whole origin trilogy, but that's when it hit me like, Spider-Man ain't been through shit yet. Yeah, like, this is the tip of the iceberg. You know what I'm saying?
Because don't he eventually becomes like the leader of the Avengers, right?
No.
I don't know where
he becomes an Avenger, but he doesn't become the leader of the Avengers. Okay. The leader of the Avengers is probably gonna be like Sam Falcon.
Captain America.
He would probably be it, or maybe Kate Bishop. Spider-Man clearly, and then now when I'm realizing, remember like in all those, we kept asking, yo, he in New York, like is Spider-Man gonna show up in this shit? But now we realize he don't even fucking know Hawkeye don't even know Spider-Man no more.
But they know Spider-Man, but they don't know Peter Parker.
He has no way. He has no access to the Avengers shit.
Yeah.
Tony Stark shit has been taken and shit. There's no way to find this nigga Peter unless he shows up. Perfect movie, man.
Yeah, yo, from the acting, because the storyline was amazing. We just broke that down, but even from the acting, the characters, you know, everything was magnificent. It was magnificent.
And definitely was a lot of foreshadowing though as well on Ned, because one part that we missed, or one part I forgot to say was Doctor Strange comes back and was like, "You opened that portal?" And Ned's like, "Yeah." Doctor Strange was like, "Okay."
Yeah, he was like,
in his mind, he thinking, "Man, it took me a fucking prick to open."
It took Ned seconds to do that shit, man.
And he becomes the Hobgoblin. It's crazy. How
And it's good. And you know what's so fucked up about Marvel right now is that these new villains in these Spider-Man trilogies are going to be kids and friends that we grew up and we liked and we loved and they were on our side. And these niggas don't even know what we know about them.
Have you seen the first Spider-Man Homecoming movie?
Yeah.
Well, Spider-Man, you saw the first one, right?
The very first one with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember? I think I actually put it in our group chat. There's this character in the triathlon. His name was Abe. Abraham, the African one.
Yeah.
He actually becomes what is it? He becomes a nemesis of Spider-Man 2 a little bit, right? Or he.
I don't think they're gonna go with that.
They probably won't. No, I mean,
you want to know what direction I think they're really gonna
his
go?
His name is Abe Jones, and he's somebody's brother. Somebody's brother kills somebody.
I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, but he ends up fucking with Shang-Chi.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a bad, like they end up like teaming up. So it's like that could, that's far-fetched. But I'm just saying.
I think what's not far-fetched is that Flash will now become the MCU Venom.
Flash.
The Indian blonde-haired kid that wrote a book on Spider. He said, "And read my novel on Spider." He's going to become this universe's Venom.
The symbiote. It's part of the symbiote.
Right.
Yeah.
From the post-credit scenes.
So that was Venom from the post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
Cause I was like, I was looking at everybody like, huh? I'm like, hold on.
So wait,
Is that the dude?
he's not gonna be MCU's Venom. Venom's not gonna be MCU's Venom.
How? He's back into like Sonyverse, really. But the remnants. And if you know the comic books, it's either Eddie Brock or Flash Thompson, who becomes, besides Spider-Man, who gets overtaken by the symbiote. It's a bunch of other people who get taken over by the symbiote, but they kind of already explained
But I think in this one comic where Flash Thompson is like, how he's like a bully at first in like high school and shit like that, but then he becomes like really selfless later on.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like,
he becomes like a agent. He becomes Agent Venom, and he goes like in outer space and he fights a whole bunch of like space things or whatever. I'm not sure if they're gonna have it, but I just know in this movie when they made his hair blonde, that was just like the first indication that they're like slowly but surely starting to like move these characters into like, it's like watching like a superhero dramatic Degrassi go on. Like it's getting like dramatic, man. But I can't.
I like how they're showing like the villains develop as well.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, I hate that they're having us grow up with them all happy and willy nilly. So when we see them going up against this nigga, it's like,
what
it's gonna be
happened
hurt.
to you?
It's gonna hurt. Damn, Peter.
You was the one.
Your life fucking sucked, bro. Everything you do, like.
And it's sad because he gotta remember them.
Yeah, he gotta remember them.
Like, if I had to cast a spell like that, I'd be like, all right, I gotta forget.
Can I forget too? Yeah, like don't even let me remember this shit.
Yep.
In the comic book, that's kind of how it went. A part of it, like he forgot to, but you never know. I think Martin Lee will probably take over Feast now that Ame's dead.
Mr. Negative.
They move, that makes room for Martin Lee, and it also leaves room for Miles Morales to show up at Feast.
Yeah, and they in Homecoming and in this movie they keep shouting out, Miles Morales, because Aaron Davis is in Homecoming. That's Childish Gambino's character.
So I'm gonna say so. How would Miles Morales make the transition from the?
He's already in the universe.
All right. I'm gonna say
Homecoming happens before Infinity War happens, and Aaron Davis says, "I got a nephew that's running around here." Boom! Endgame happens 5 years.
So Miles Morales was just animated just for the sake of it.
He's it's animated for Sega.
Yeah, that was Sony trying to make some money.
Okay.
We're talking about the actual MCU. Aaron Davis shows up in the first Spider-Man, which is the Prowler, which is Miles Morales' uncle.
Mm-hmm.
He says that he has a nephew around there, but that was before Infinity War. But you know, in Infinity War, boom, snap happens, 5 years pass. Now that kid that was probably 8 years old is now probably, 13?
14.
You know what I'm saying?
Living in New York.
Living in New York. This next trilogy is going to introduce Miles. In the first one, he's probably not even going to be fucking Spider-Man. He's probably just going to be like just the kid there, helping along and shit at Feast. And then maybe Spider-Man 5 or 6, that's when we'll really see him turn into like Miles Morales Spider-Man for real.
I think he starts helping at Feast after Miles Morales' father dies.
His father doesn't die in the comic book, so I'm not sure how they're going to play it. Or I don't think he dies immediately. He doesn't die until way. He's already Spider-Man by the time his father died.
Dang, so much in the MCU, man.
Yeah, it could go either way.
And then Shock, and then Jamie Foxx goes. I know there's a black Spider-Man out here somewhere. Mm-hmm. So they're like going towards that. They probably just haven't decided on exactly who.
No, I just think it's just not time yet.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, they're not gonna drop it anytime soon.
2025.
2025, maybe 2030. Really. They still got a whole nother Spider-Man trilogy to do before we get that. And mind you, the other Avengers.
He'll probably get around and get introduced in the next trilogy.
We'll get introduced. He'll be introduced as a character, just to tickle the fans. Yeah. Just like how they gave us, like, you know what I'm saying, Ned and them and all that. They'll give us that.
Talk about in the cutscene. They'll be like, "Hey, Miles, can you?" And then, like, "Oh shit, that's Miles Morales." Yeah, I can see it now. So
we'll see how it goes. But y'all got any other thoughts?
Nah.
We didn't touch on the very last end credit.
Doctor Strange?
Yes.
Oh, that joint was too much.
It reminded me of the comic book The Oath.
The Oath? What's that?
Doctor Strange, The Oath. Pretty much he walks outside one day in New York and everything's like grayed out in like this black plasma, and he finds out that somebody's like taking the magic away from everything. Like someone's sucking the magic out of like, cause everything in life, the way it has like color and stuff like this, everything in it has like a little bit of magic in it, like a little bit at least. But like someone was taking all the magic out of like all the universes and stuff. So by the time he catches up to it, it was his universe that was taking, the energy. But then he finds out like, pretty. I mean, that's the basis of it. I don't want to
up on Wanda. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm glad they explained why the fuck he ain't do nothing about Westview. Because remember, we thought he was going to show up all up and through this motherfucker. Like, hey, what the? But you know what? I think what he realized was that he probably can't check her, yo. I think he really sat to himself and he was like, I've sensed her energy.
He was like, this is my superior.
Yeah, she'll give me work. I don't think I want to fuck with
that's his OG. Wanda?
I think we're going to see X-Men in that film.
This man Swag, this man Alpha been talking about X-Men for like, and they coming. They coming, bro. He been talking I think we're gonna see X-Men. So I'm not gonna lie.
When the last time I said we was gonna see X-Men?
WandaVision.
Oh, that's because it's fucking Wanda though, and we're talking about the warping reality and shit. Come on, that was a good one.
No, that's not bad. I'm just saying, I'm fucking with you, bro.
Yeah, that made sense though. I ain't said it ever since.
It wasn't a reach.
Yeah, it wasn't no reach. This one, Multiverse of Madness. They could be funny and just throw Deadpool in there.
Oh yeah, I think Deadpool is gonna appear.
If he throws it in, that's pretty much giving us.
Just remember, I said that Deadpool is gonna appear in.
In what?
Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
It's coming out in May, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Y'all got any other comments? I know we probably been talking for a long ass time. You had to get all that out though.
Sorry. That's how deep that movie was.
That movie got deep, man.
So if you hadn't watched the movie, I hope you weren't watching this video.
Yeah, because
we just told you everything.
Everything. More than you.
Everything.
Like, you know what I'm saying? That was. This movie was marvelous. I don't know. Is there any other words I really had to say about this movie? No.
Go see it.
I'm just really intrigued to see where and when Spider-Man pops up after this movie. I'm geeking to see another Spider-Man movie, but I really just want to see Peter show up and just see the dynamic he has to deal with all the other heroes and stuff like that, knowing that they don't know, he knows who they are, but they don't know who he is.
Damn.
Knowing that this is all coming from him.
Right. Granted, it won't be that bad because if he's with the Young Avengers, most of them niggas don't know who the fuck he is to begin with.
Or what happened.
So he really, all the OGs is either dead. So we'll see, but like it's still kind of like a little heartbreaking. Alright, man, that's the end of this video, man. For those who don't know, I go by the name of Treat Me Alpha. I'm always here with the gang, with the buzzers.
Mogali.
It's the last order. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe.
Right.
Turn your notification bell on for every time we drop a video, so that way you can see it first. And make sure y'all drop some comments. Make sure y'all tell us some stuff that we didn't see.
Right.
Because I know there's probably a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't talk about that y'all want to talk about or elaborate on. So y'all do that. We gonna drop this. It's Monday. We drop by the end of the day. Y'all can chop it up. Let's get crazy. And it's gang.
So hard to say I'm right. Yeah. Don't know if I get past you on the avenue. Say I'm tripping, it's the way I feel. Yeah, I told you I would be there when nobody else will.